أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونتوب إليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه فصلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد، يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. Ahibba, before we continue, just to let you know that rooms 3 and 4 are open, the area in the back. So as best as we can, let's not block anything of movement for people to get through, so that we're able to, inshallah, allow everybody to worship without distractions or with minimal distractions, please. Jazakumullahu khairan. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala is the all-knowing. He is the most wise. And at the same time, He is the most merciful, the most kind, subhanahu. And then what's happening within life, whether it be our own personal lives or what's happening within the life of society at large, He shows us signs so that people who have intelligence, who have faith, can reflect and can learn many different lessons from them, and ultimately that they would better themselves and they would serve to better help within their own lives, the lives of their family and society. One such example of these is what we are seeing currently with regards to this whole fiasco of people who are, quote, illegal, and how families are being divided and being separated because of not being legal within the country. And you are seeing, if you're watching the news, men and women, through the media or otherwise, crying because they can't believe that this is something that's happening in 2018 within what? Within the great old United States of America. To watch adults, of parents and their children being put in jail. And let's be honest, we need to use words as they are and not allow word games to lessen anything of the severity of what's really taking place. Holding stations does not change anything. In the same way that we know for other things, just by changing the name of something does not change the reality of what it is. And I don't know what the rest of the world is saying as they're watching this. But as Muslims, we need to have a clear position on what Islam teaches with regards to family. Just in case maybe perhaps we've gotten a little rusty or we're not sure, or even if we're 100% sure, we're going to call our attention to that today, on the essentialness of family in Islam. And if we could understand, brothers and sisters, Allah Azza wa Jal in so many places throughout the Quran, as well as His Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, there's so much that can be said and that is said with regards to family. Family beginning with husband and wife. Family with regards to the nuclear family of parents and their children. Family in the larger extent of that which is through bloodline. And even larger than that, family that even includes relatives through marriage and otherwise. One such beautiful teaching is this ayah that is the first ayah in Surah An-Nisa. Allah Azza wa Jal says, يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. O humanity, Allah Azza wa Jalla is addressing everyone, Muslim, non-Muslim, Arab, non-Arab, legal, without legal authorization. O humanity, guard your relationship with your Lord, who created you from one person, Adam, and from Adam created his wife Eve, Hawa, alayhum as-salatu was-salam. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon both of them. And from these two human beings, the entire human race, from the blackest of the black to the whitest of the white, from the north of this globe to the south, from the east to the west, every single human being that is scattered all throughout this beautiful earth, and with the abundance that we see. And guard your relationship with your Lord, in whose divine sacred names you ask each other, you make requests from each other. And be sure that you maintain your family ties. Certainly Allah observes you from above. Think about this. Allah Azza wa Jalla is ending the ayah that He sees us. He's well aware of all that we say and do. And just before that, He's telling us, make sure that we do not use His beautiful, divine, sacred names lightly. Because when you bring Allah Jalla wa Ala into the picture of whatever the topic is, and you are invoking Him through His beautiful names, you better believe that that's something that on Judgment Day you're going to be asked about. And to maintain family ties. What family ties, Ahibba? He's telling us from the very beginning the family tie of how He's created us as human beings. And its most general and its most inclusive command and teaching is to understand that the human family, that there must be a sense of compassion, regardless of how much we may look like each other or opposite of what we look like each other. We cannot forget the human family is one family. The only time we seem to remember is when they show us in the movies that aliens are attacking. Then we remember that we're one. And then we have to come together to fight this enemy of aliens, because if we don't, we're all doomed. Come on. Subhanallah. Who cares what nationality? Who cares whether they're legal, illegal? We're talking about human beings. What's next? Are we going to go ahead and have paperwork and documentation for animals that they can't cross borders? Make sure those deers, before they come into the country or exit, that, they have lawful authorization, that they're legal in what they're doing. And the same thing for the rabbits and the coyotes and who knows what of different things that are birds. We got to make sure we build that wall high enough that birds can't fly over. But I want us to understand something, and this is the sad part. What we see happening in America is not something that's just particular to America. What we're seeing is a repetition of things that are happening throughout the world, and even sadly within Muslim countries. Sadly, very sadly. Why? Because we've given in to the fears that shaitan, the devil, Satan, has put in our hearts and in our minds. The fear that by these other folks being here, that they're going to take a piece of my pie, that my share is going to be lessened, that my future, the future of my children, is going to be taken away. When you live in fear, you can be the president, you can be the most wealthiest person in the world, you can be whoever you choose to be. You will still never have peace of mind. Because fear is a disease that debilitates a person from within, and it may be very clearly a phobia that has nothing to do with reality. Family is sacred. We have this beautiful hadith that's authentic in Al-Jami' al-Saghir, that Jarir ibn Abdullah radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma tells us that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Inna Allah ta'ala كتب في الكتاب قبل أن يخلق السماوات والأرض إنني أنا الرحمن خلقت الرحم وشققت لها اسما من اسمي فمن وصلها وصلته ومن قطعها قطعت. The Prophet ﷺ said that Allah, the Mighty, the Majestic said, and he said this before he created the heavens and the earth, he wrote this and had it recorded in that mother record book that's in paradise. Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz, the guarded tablets, that guarded record book. Certainly I am the most merciful. And I created the womb. Now in Arabic, the word is from the same root letters in the English. It's not there, so the meaning is lost in a sense. But he's saying that he created the womb in the Arabic, Ar-Rahim. The same root letters from his beautiful name. He says, and I gave it the name from my own name. Ar-Rahim, Ar-Rahman. The most merciful, the womb being a source of mercy. And through that mercy, family ties, which are supposed to be a source of mercy, kindness, love. And he then makes a conditional statement, whoever keeps and maintains their family, I will also keep and maintain that connection with them. And whoever divides them, whoever separates them, whoever severs them, whoever breaks them, whoever seeks to come in between and destroy them, I will also do the same to them. Wallahi, brothers and sisters, we should never take anything, and humanity should never take anything lightly of what Allah the Majestic, the Mighty says. Because if there's anything that everybody should be certain of, regardless of whether you're reading within the Quran or looking at other books of faith, you'll find that the bottom line has always been the same, that Allah Azza wa Jal follows through on what He promises. And in this case, He's telling us so beautifully. And He's motivating and encouraging us so beautifully, so compassionately, so that we would allow and use the better part of who we are as intelligent, beautiful human beings to do the right thing. But He does end it with that warning in the end for those who, even though they may be intelligent and may be blessed and have so much, that they are still going to be urged on to make bad choices, decisions that are hurting families and people, that Allah is more than capable of dividing them and separating them, severing them, and that can be in ways that only Allah Azza wa Jal knows in this life and in the next. And the last thing that any one of us should ever want to do is find out what or how. I pray that Allah Azza wa Jal, that He protect us from ever being in that second category. Allahumma ameen. Not only that, brothers and sisters, but in Islam, we're even told that family is eternal. It's not something that's just here in this life and then when you die, that's it. It's a clean slate. We're reprogrammed. Nobody knows anyone. Not at all. Listen to this beautiful ayah that's in At-Tur, the 21st ayah. Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَاتَّبَعَتْهُمْ ذُرِّيَّتُهُمْ بِإِيمَانٍ أَلْحَقْنَا بِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّتَهُمْ وَمَا أَلَتْنَاهُمْ مِنْ عَمَلِهِمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ كُلُّ امْرِئٍ بِمَا كَسَبَ رَهِينٌ. And they who believe and their progeny follow them in faith, we will cause their progeny to join them. They're in paradise, and we deprive them nothing of their life's work. And every person is a pledge, collateral for what they have earned. To understand that in paradise, parents and children and spouses and siblings and family, it's going to continue in the hereafter. Understand that that is another one of Allah Azza wa Jal's manifestation of His love for us as human beings, as His creation. And just in case anybody's saying, oh my God, really, I have to be with them for an eternity? We're going to be purged of whatever we have of our personality faults and our character faults and whatever it is of these things that make even family sometimes, or perhaps all too often these days, not enjoy the quality of what we should in paradise. None of that nonsense is going to be there. We're going to be perfect because paradise is perfect. So that's to help us understand how serious and how sacred and how valuable and important family is in Islam, the role, the position and place that it has, the status. And I pray that Allah Azza wa Jal guide us all so that we can truly cherish family for what it is, and that we will work together in all that is correct and pleasing to Him. Allahumma ameen. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد، ألا وإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله عز وجل وخير هدي هدي رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Our brothers who are standing by the door, you can still pray in room 3 and 4. There's room, inshallah. If you can walk through, please. Let's allow for them to walk through. Brothers and sisters, here's part of the issue that we need to pay attention to. Immigrant Muslims have been within the United States at least for 50 years. And we know that there have been trickling of Muslims even within the past century, and certainly with the slaves that were brought in. We've been here for a long time. Part of our problem, though, is that we don't want to acknowledge that we are supposed to be ashabul risala, that we are ambassadors carrying a message, and that we need to live out that message and convey it to the peoples that we may go out to and live with. In this country for as long as we've been, and although, yes, it may be said that we're only 1% of the population, we know that as a minority, that we are perhaps the exception in the sense that among the best educated, most privileged, and certainly among the wealthiest. The net worth of Muslims in the United States being close to $100 billion. But yet, to sadly see that when it comes to standing up for and representing, having a position on matters that matter, that mean something within the society that we're a part of, except some rare instances, we're nowhere to be seen. And that's a direct violation of what Allah Rabbul Alameen has enjoined upon us. Listen to this divine proclamation. Allah Azza wa Jal says in the 135th ayah of Surah An-Nisa, يا أيها الناس كونوا يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله ولو على أنفسكم أو الوالدين والأقربين إن يكن غنيا أو فقيرا فالله أولى بهما فلا تتبعوا الهوى أن تعدلوا وإن تلووا أو تعرضوا فإن الله كان بما تعملون خبيرا. O you who believe, be persistent, standing firm in justice, witnesses for Allah, even if it be against your own selves or your parents or even your relatives, whether the person be rich or poor. Allah is more worthy of both of these. So follow not your personal inclinations, lest you be unjust. And if you distort your testimony or refuse to give it, then indeed Allah is ever with what you do acquainted. Can you find a verse in the Quran as thorough and as explicit in what it means for us as Muslims to be standard bearers for justice? That for Allah Azza wa Jal, that we be witnesses, even if it means we're going to be witnesses against our own selves, against our parents, against our spouses, against our children, against our siblings, against our relatives. Why? Because there's such a thing as Judgment Day. In that Judgment Day, those family ties are going to be something that, if we abuse them, or that we went against Allah Azza wa Jal, we're going to regret it. Brothers and sisters, there is no reason why as Muslims in this country, with regards to this horrible situation, that we don't have a loud voice and strong presence showing within society as a whole that this is something that concerns us, that this is something that we do have a heart when we see children being taken away, that we are not a selfish bunch who only cares and cries when something affects us and when it happens to somebody else. What is it going to take for us to mature and to grow up? To do the right thing because it is the right thing? What will it take for us to stop being so selfish and only thinking about our own material well-being? Such that we're going to care whether it be Hispanic, whether it be black, whether it be who cares, whatever they may be. That we're going to be right up there at the front with everyone else who is also protesting. I would like to call it crimes against humanity. Whether it be in America or anywhere else. Whether it even be Saudi Arabia. No country is sacred. No government is sacred. Human beings are. And governments, countries, their purpose is for the well-being of their citizens and for the people who live there regardless of. And if we do not do our part, and we think that we can continue to neglect these things. Why? Because somebody else will take care of it. We're still concerned about making our income, building our houses overseas, making sure that our children get the education that they need, that they're going to get married and have, and that we're going to continue this cycle. Like the saying goes, you got another thing coming. Because Allah's kindness in allowing things to continue as they are does not mean that He's necessarily pleased with us. Because what He is pleased with, is what He has given of standards. And if we are fulfilling those standards, alhamdulillah. But we're not. We really aren't. And this is where we need to look within ourselves and understand that our own racism and prejudice is something we need to purge from within our hearts, our minds, within our souls. The discrimination of whatever it may be that we have, we need to get rid of that. And with what He has empowered us with and He has blessed us with, we need to make sure that it is the standard of what is excellence, of what is ihsan. And we need to go ahead and join these coalitions within society of whatever background the people may be, religious or otherwise. When it comes to what is just and what is right, that we stand together. That we stand together as witnesses for Allah Azza wa Jalla in what is right. Because if you were to go ahead and have empathy, and for empathy you need to really be able to put yourself in the other person's shoes. How would you feel if your children were taken away from you? How would you feel if your family was separated from you? How would you really feel if you were in their situation? Would you still be able to go to sleep at night okay and stuff your bellies? Would you really be able to just go on as it's just another day? And then we wonder why we make dua and we cry and our duas are not answered. Allahu Azza wa Jal guide us. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم